Hello, friends. I think let's move on with this pandemic and get improve us to do a good work. I am Dr. Shraddha, anesthesiologist working with St. GS Medical College, Mumbai. So I'll be talking about intubation and mechanical ventilation in COVID pneumonia. Just keynotes here. So this is the basic screen of a ventilator, which it looks like when you start the ventilator. So when you start the ventilator, see whether the AC mode of electric supply is on and the ventilator is not working on the battery. So you have something on the horizontal scale and you have something on the vertical scale. Generally on horizontal scale is what we have set, and here what the ventilator is sensing. So the respiratory rate, volume, then your flow, inspiratory pause, your pressure support, PEEP, flow trigger. Now flow trigger has to be kept around 1 or 2, not more than that. Then FiO2 should, whatever desired FiO2 to maintain the saturation. Then this is your inspired tidal volume and expired tidal volume. Expired tidal volume, if it becomes 0, then you have to, like, something is really going wrong with the patient, it is disconnected or there is a kink. Then this is the IE ratio, FiO2. So this is how your screen, and there are 3 scalars. So this going up and down is a pressure scale. So this is the volume and this is the flow scale. So mechanical ventilation settings, commonest in ARDS pneumonia with COVID-19, what we see is a volume AC mode. Tidal volume is 6 to 8 ml per kg, minimum of 4 ml per kg at least. Respiratory rate, obviously to match the minute ventilation, which will depend upon the PaCO2 and the pH of the patient. IE ratio, again you can have normal is 1:2, but at least the TI time should not be less than 0.8 seconds. Yeah, FiO2, like you can give up to 100%. Flow rate, but keep minimum possible to get the desired saturation. Flow rate or the peak inspiratory flow rate is the maximum flow which the tidal volume is delivered. It is between 40 to 50 liters per minute. And PEEP 5 to 22 centimeters, you can use the RDSnet protocol to set this. What we need to monitor is the expired tidal volume, peak inspiratory pressure and the plateau inspiratory pressure, and many others, but at least this is bare minimum, as well as vitals, saturation and end tidal CO2. So there are certain terms in ventilator which we got to know. So this is a normal pressure time curve. So there's a peak inspiratory pressure, that's the maximum inspiratory pressure at the inspiration. Then you have a plateau pressure. So this is the pressure which remains in the alveoli. So this is one of the important factors while we setting the tidal volume. So here how do you measure plateau pressure is, we have to put the patient on inspiratory hold. So when the patient is breathing, there is an inspiratory hold button on the ventilator. Press that for 3 to 4 seconds and you can measure this pressure. So that is roughly here, I think it's 25. So it should be less than, so desirable it is to keep below 30 centimeters of water. So what if it is more? You have to decrease the tidal volume by 1 ml per kg and get it the desired value. Then PEEP. PEEP is positive end expiratory pressure. So keeping the alveoli open at end expiration or recruiting the alveoli will improve the oxygenation. So what modes of ventilation? When I say volume control ventilation or the AC mode, what parameters will we have to set is the tidal volume, because I am controlling the volume, so I have to set tidal volume, which is 6 ml per kg, 6 to 8 ml per kg. Respiratory rate, you will have to see PCO2 and set the respiratory rate. FiO2, see the SpO2 and set your FiO2. PEEP will, if there is PO2 is very low, you will have to give PEEP accordingly, and trigger. So now if pressure control ventilation, what will be the difference in the parameter is, I'm going to set the PEEP, or the, if it is support ventilation, I'll be setting the pressure support. Then there is something called as pressure regulated volume guaranteed. That means I am trying to control both pressure and volume, but here you have to be very vigilant and monitor the patient. Now volume versus pressure, which is good, bad, both have their pro and cons. In pressure control ventilation, advantages is there is reduction in peak pressures and risk of barotrauma is less, improved gas exchange, more homogeneous ventilation, and it can compensate for leaks. While volume control ventilation, you can give a constant tidal volume, so minute ventilation can be occurred and PuCO2 is better maintained. Disadvantages, as I said, in pressure control ventilation, hyperventilation can occur, and in volume control, barotrauma can occur. So there are two types of COVID pneumonias or ARDS which has been found. One is with low elastance and other is high elastance. So here the compliance is more than 50 and here the compliance is less than 40. So this compliance, we can measure this value from ventilators. Some newer ventilators will give you the direct value and others you can derive from the expired volume divided by the plateau pressures. So recruitability is low, and here it is high. So what is the mechanism of hypoxia? There is impaired pulmonary vasoconstriction or VQ mismatch. And here it is like a classical ARDS, right to left shunt, ventilator induced lung injuries. So here you need a low PEEP and tidal volume of 8 to 10 ml, 6 to 8 ml per kg, respiratory rate up to 20, and here it is like the standard treatment for severe ARDS. And even CT scan will help you to delineate between the two. There will be a ground density subpleurally along the lung fissures, and here you get a typical ground glass appearance of both the lower lobes. Ventilator settings for ARDS, they are different for both the types of COVID pneumonias. For high compliance, you can use patients which are generally on non-invasive ventilation where FiO2 of 60 to 70% is good enough to maintain a saturation. Tidal volume, you can give something like 8 to 10 ml per kg, PEEP of 10. But in low compliance, you have to follow the ARDS NET protocol. Generally, patients are on volume control AC mode. Tidal volume of 6 ml per kg. Respiratory rate is generally least is 25 per minute, sometimes even more is required. So you have to match the minute ventilation. If patients, generally these patients, they have hypercarbia, but you have to see that pH is maintained at least up to 7.2. FiO2 should be titrated to have a saturation of more than 85 to 90. PEEP should be high. Monitor your plateau pressures, they should be less than 30. If there are more than 30, decrease the tidal volume by 1 ml per kg. Minimum up to 4 ml per kg can be set. So what does the WHO has set up an advisory for improving outcomes of patients of ARDS in COVID-19 patients, and they said the initial tidal volume of 6 ml per kg, permissive hypercapnia, use of deep sedation to prevent dyssynchrony, and making this patient prone for 12 to 16 hours have shown to improve the outcomes, and high PEEP instead of lower PEEP is suggested. So this is a chart showing FiO2 and PEEP values, high and low, which you can refer. So what we generally monitor when the patient is on ventilator is the arterial blood gas. So in arterial blood gas, what we look at is the pH, PaO2, PCO2, saturation and bicarbs. So this part tells me about the ventilation and this two parameters tell me about the oxygenation. So suppose generally the problem what we faced while ventilating COVID-19 patients is hypercarbia. So if there is hypercarbia and I want to treat that, so what parameters will I change on my ventilator is tidal volume. So that means if there is hypercarbia, so I have to increase the minute ventilation. So either I have to increase tidal volume or respiratory rate or both. Or what else I can do is I can prolong the expiration by altering the I ratio. So I can shorten the inspiratory time and then increase the expiratory time. So what if the saturation is low or the PO2 is low? So there is hypoxia. So what parameters I have to change on the ventilator is increase the FiO2 or increase the PEEP. So what care of the patient will you take when the patient is on endotracheal tube is suctioning. Again, suctioning is going to cause lot of aerosol generation. So you're going to take care of, you have proper protection, PPE is being worn. Then it has to be, patient if he is paralyzed, see to it you are doing suctioning when the patient is well paralyzed. Give 100% FiO2 before disconnecting the patient from the ventilator. Use closed catheter suctions. And use recruitment maneuvers post suction, otherwise there will be risks of hypoxia. Nebulizations not very popularly used, rather use of MDR, metered dose inhalers is preferred. Cuff pressure monitoring should be done, deflation of the cuff should be practiced. Change HME every 48 to 72 hours. If it is moist or there are secretions, you can change in between. Avoid disconnections of endotracheal tube, and if you are trying to keep the disconnected, clamp the tube. That is what they are saying, but you shouldn't clamp the tube if the patient is spontaneously breathing. So now let's talk something about prone ventilation. Severe ARDS where the PF ratio is less than 100. You can prone the patient even when the patient is awake or in non-invasive ventilation. They say as long as for 16 to 18 hours per day they can be ventilated in prone position. So what is prone positioning doing is it is opening up the posterior alveoli. So when you are proning the patient, you have to be very careful. You have to take help of the servants, the sisters to carry out this maneuver. It has to be well planned before proning the patient. Then when you prone the patient, you have to do padding for all the pressure points, the shoulder, pelvic, bolsters to be kept, head ring, ankle, genitalia, eyes, use of airbeds, minimize neck torsion, take eye care, intubate, tube care, and care of the invasive lines. Disadvantage: if you have inexperienced personnel while you are doing this maneuver, the endotracheal tube can come out, invasive lines can come out. So be careful. So in prone ventilation, the weight of the abdominal organs or the heart is been taken care of. Again, there is redistribution of the edema fluid, which helps in better ventilation of the posterior alveoli. This is how a patient looks like in prone position. There are two bolsters below the abdomen, below the chest. The hands are well padded. The neck is turned and supported. Thank you.